Hello everyone and welcome to Sunburned Albino ranks every boss in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order from easiest to hardest. That's right, the father of boss rankings is back in action to lead you all to the promised land once again. Spoilers for the game, obviously. Every boss was beaten on the hardest difficulty, Jedi Grandmaster, except 4 of them by accident, but they were like the first bosses of the game, so who cares? And I'll give you your disclaimers as they come up so you don't call me a fat phony. Bounty hunters are weird, we'll get to that, but first let's just start the damn video. Number 1, solo bounty hunters. We're getting to that. The easiest bosses in Star Wars are solo bounty hunters. Bounty hunters show up randomly in random spawn locations at random times and are categorized into 3 groups: mech, jetpack, and shield charging bitch. Unofficial designations. Any of them on their own is a cakewalk. You don't even have to employ a strategy, although holding down force push is especially good at knocking over mechs if you have the right upgrades, and then you can just hit them while they're down and repeat the process and they can't stop you. But they can also group up in pairs of 2, and I'm giving that its own slot later on in the list. But first, just look at this guy. This is Mitch Murda. That's his bounty hunter name. Mitch Murda. He picked that shit himself. What was Manny Manslaughter taken? Hey, what's your name? Mitch Murda. Nice to meet you. I'm Rich Rape. Dude, there's a solo mech battle named Chonk. Not busting your balls, it's a bounty hunter droid named Chonk. And I tried so hard to find him, but I didn't get lucky because the spawns are random. But I just wanted you to know that at any point in your Jedi travels, you might stumble across a fat-ass robot named Chonk. Okay, moving on. Number 2, the albino Whatchamacallit. Now, I already know what you're thinking. OMG, do you feel any special attachment to this creature since it's an albino and your name is... Yeah, it's a fair question, and I'll answer it by respectfully saying, fuck no! It's a giant spider. I'm attached to the idea of someone else burning it until nothing remains. I don't even want to be the one to kill it, because then I'm near it. The albino Whatchamacallit is almost identical to the other dark spiders you see in the area, except it's white, which means people don't take its problems seriously. Also, the attack you would usually parry to get an insta-kill is now an unblockable instead, and that is just systemic inequality, and I will not tolerate it. That unblockable attack is hella delayed, so rolling immediately when you see red will still get you caught in it. This creature's ass is gigantic, vulnerable, and on full display, like Lizzo's at a basketball game, so hit him there for some extra damage in a culture war. Number 3, Null Chance. This is a 2-parter boss. The first part is unwinnable because of the story, which technically makes him the hardest boss in the game, but I'm also making him look harder than he is here because I am terrible at dodging things the first time I see them. He's basically just a solo bounty hunter, though. After he captures you, you have to escape a completely unguarded maximum security prison before emerging into an arena where you then fight through a gauntlet of enemies. And here I was facing a dilemma, because I only had 3 stims here, even though I should have had 5 by this point, but I never went back to Bogano first, so this thing was exhausting my healing too much on Grandmaster difficulty, so I was like, LOL, I'll change it to story difficulty. No one will notice as long as I change it back before there's a boss, but oops, you can't change difficulty in the middle of battle, and of course Null Chance comes back at the end of the horde to finish what he started, but joke's on him, because I can parry his blaster shots 2 hours ahead of time now. So that's my bad, but also he's nothing anyway. You might even say he's null. Oh my goodness, I'm terrible. Number 4, Security Droid. I've beaten the game and I still hate fighting these things. Their counterattack rhythm is just off enough to where I can't quite finish a second strike before they swing around at me, which is infuriating. And I don't think I've ever parried one of their attacks because they're so tiny it's hard to gauge. They do unblockables all day long and say passive-aggressive robot things while judging your playstyle. They can fuck right off. I about had a heart attack when I opened that one room on the ice planet and there were like 12 of them stacked up in there. Cal thinks he's an engineer because he can attach 2 lightsabers together at the hilt. Why don't you do something useful and manufacture some goddamn grenades? This is one of the boss battles I did on the 2nd hardest difficulty by accident, and I'm still floundering. I don't think I actually got the hang of the combat until the 9th sister fight. But these droids don't stagger, and that's super dickish, so I blame them too. You literally want to do like 1 attack at a time and roll a mile backwards immediately. They'll be mean to you about it, but at least you won't die. Number 5, AT&T. This multinational conglomerate holding company specializing in telecommunications is a real bitch to fight, in part because it's poorly designed, and in part because at this point in the game, we're poorly designed. If I had infinite force, straight up no problem. Reflect the rockets back at it, the grenades too, 0 issues, but this is our first visit to Zepho, We don't even have an average amount of force. We don't even know how to pole yet. We are baby-ass Padawans who can't even reach across the room to put a pacifier in our mouths. So it's all about reflecting lasers, but that requires precise timing, which isn't a problem by itself. But the AT&T fires in 2-round bursts, and the first bullet usually lands 5 feet in front of you, which is the bullet you're trying to deflect, so your timing is off for the second one, and you just fling that shit into outer space, or into the hull of your own ship, which is just fucking sitting there, because, oh no, kid, the weapons are down for no reason. Oh, well, do you want to come out and help? Nah, kid, we gotta stay here and make sure the weapons stay down. If you reflect enough lasers back at the AT&T, it will stagger for approximately 1.5 seconds, which is just enough time to take 2 steps towards trying to attack its legs before it's back up and running and shitting grenades everywhere. Now that's what I call explosive diarrhea. Make me the host of next year's Game Awards, you cowards. Number 6, Ogdoad. I fought this boss before I even got the ability to heal. Why? Because I'm a badass. I took this footage from my Let's Play series, which is also on Jedi Grandmaster, so I am actually just a god among men for doing this. Ogdoad is a harsh teacher, but an effective one. You'll learn to parry quick or you'll die trying, and that's what you gotta do. Wait for either of his biting attacks, parry them, do 2 hits and roll away, and then stay close so he isn't tempted to do any of his other nonsense. This fight teaches you a lot. 1, how to parry. 2, how you need to double tap the roll button instead of just quick dodging left or right, because that shit don't ever work. 3, the importance of sticking to a formula without the slightest deviation. 4, how atrociously long the loading screens in this game are. And 5, Cal's lightsaber must take AAA batteries because that thing barely leaves a dent in a lizard. Ogdoad's face should be off. It should not be attached to his head anymore. He should have no teeth. His snout should be split like a banana peel. What kind of dollar store children's toy am I wielding right now? Number 7, Gaara. This boss is actually pretty easy, all things considered, but it's still super cool. I needed 2 tries because apparently I don't know how to jump over a 2-foot-tall shockwave that shouldn't even damage me. Imagine losing 2/3 of your health for being at the beach and standing in front of a knee-high wave like, well, I guess I'm a goner. Later, guys, the sea is calling me back to her. The bat follows a standard procedure where he jabs his wing into the ground and lingers for no reason, so you walk up and hit him a couple times till he gets stunned. Do that a couple times, you'll be able to use force pull on him to slam him into the ground and do a combo before he gets up and does some more bat garbage. Roll away from any charging attacks. Watch out for any landing attack that doesn't specifically target you, because that means a deadly shockwave is coming. One time I died because Cal can't act out of being knocked down except to roll away, and that's a problem that many mechanically similar games share. It's a problem in Sekiro and Bloodborne. I don't remember if it is in Neo, but possibly. But so if an attack knocks me down in a game like this, to where Cal is like on his knees staggered, my first instinct as a player, if it's part of a combo, is to try and parry the next hit. But you can't parry out of being knocked down. You can't even block. You have to roll. And you can't jump either, which is how I managed to get hit by a second shockwave after the first one knocks me down. It's just a pet peeve that goes against player instinct and combat logic. We see fights in media where people block or parry from the ground all the time. Like, you think one guy's gonna land the final blow, but then the knockdown guy brandishes his blade real quick like, nuh-uh, bitch, I can still move my arms, can't I? But no, you have to roll, and that's dumb. Anyway, you kill the bat, and then later the bat chases you, and then you ride the bat, and then you have to land on the bat sometimes, and then you fail to land on the bat, so the game restarts you in the air immediately, like, damn, I'm not even over that last death, but I'm up in the sky again, and oh shit, I missed the bat again, I need to focus, I need to gather my thoughts and plan my directional, god damn it, I missed the bat again, okay, reset, we're resetting momentum, we're not going to be distracted by outside distractions right now, we're just going to let instinct take over, and fuck my ass, I missed the bat. That should just be a quick time event. I don't know why we have to aim ourselves like a flying squirrel on a joyride, but then we kill the bat, so that's good, so no more bat. Number 8, No Dick Alpha. I don't know how you can be an alpha with no dick, but that's life on Dathomir, I guess. The virgins are at the top, baby. They have access to all the females, but they will not be accessing the females, if you catch my drift. Not having a dick has made the No Dick Alpha absolutely furious, as it swings around with reckless abandon like you're the one who took it from him. His key feature is missing, as we discussed, but combat-wise, his main deal is that he over-attacks. When you think he's done attacking, there's usually one more careless swipe coming, like a violent ragdoll readjusting itself while having no dick. He doesn't have a lot of openings, nor the ability to insert himself into openings, but you can abuse the powerful force push to give yourself an opening. By the way, when you invest in the skill tree, get the skill that refills your force with every stim you use ASAP. It's straight up OP. Really helps in some tough fights. Like the other no-dicks, after you kill this one, press L1 instinctively or you're gonna look like a dummy. Number 9, Team Bounty Hunters. Bounty Hunters also coming in pairs. I've seen every combination of the 3 categories, but they're mostly the same difficulty. If you see a mech abuse force push like we talked about, you can eliminate him in like 10 seconds. The jetpackers can be pulled in a bit to close some distance or slow them if they're near the ground but far away. Depending on the arena, the shield chargers can be blown completely off the map with a strong push, which you should also do to interrupt their charge attacks. It doesn't often occur to me to use force abilities in combat because it's just an instinct I never developed, but with these guys specifically, it's very helpful. They never have much health, but their numbers can overwhelm. R.I.P. Chunk, I never met you, and you will be missed. Number 10, Rabid Yotaz. This might throw some people, but this boss absolutely decimated me. At first glance, it looks like your average Yotaz, but this one is Rabid, which apparently means its attacks do double damage. I died in one combo plenty of times after he broke my guard with one swipe. I find the Yotaz difficult to parry because it's hard to tell when their attack is actually going to hit you. I'm always too early, plus they have about 1,000 different unblockables, some of which actually come out really fast, so I'm always jumpy with the circle button. Luckily for everyone who's an asshole like me, there is a cheese strat if you're a speed demon. This battle takes place inside a fan that doesn't work, like most battles do. And there's a place to climb up once you jump down into the fray. If you do a jumping attack or a quick combo on him and then sprint over to the climbable thing and ascend it as fast as humanly possible, you can avoid his lumbering swipes as he chases you. You can tell the devs tried really hard to make it so you can't do that because of how quick the boss catches on to what you're trying to do, but if you pick your moments well, it's possible. That's some Gouda cheese, mamma mia! Number 11, Terran Malicos. There are only 3 bosses left, including Terran, and they're all super hard lightsaber wielders, but I think of the 3, you can learn Terran the fastest. I beat him in about 6 attempts. It's so satisfying with these bosses that have multiple phases how you can learn the first phase so perfectly that you're yawning as you dodge attacks that previously killed you instantly, and then pumping up your focus by the time the later phases start. Malicos doesn't seem to be susceptible to any of your force attacks, at least he was shrugging off my pushes and making me look like a fat idiot, and slowing him didn't break his guard, but I'm comfortable relying on my toy lightsaber alone anyway. The most annoying part is when you die and then you have to run past those 2 Knight brothers and squeeze through the gap while they talk shit about you behind your back. In the middle of the battle, my DualShock controller flashes that it has low battery, and I remember feeling very anxious knowing I only had 90 minutes left to finish the fight before it would die completely. Gaming can be stressful. In the second phase, Malicos does this unblockable jumping attack, followed by a string of rapid swings. If you dodge the unblockable and then parry the first hit of the following combo, it'll initiate a quick time event where rapidly pressing circle will make Night Sister Marin quit being a spectator and join the fight to instantly break his guard. You can do that multiple times, so it's a great thing to wait for and try to bait out. It's a huge weakness that I think makes him easier than the other 2 Saberers. Number 12, the Ninth Sister. This was the first fight chronologically to really test me and make me become good at the game. I could stumble my way through Trilla's mini encounters with enough heals, but with the Ninth Sister, you've got to know your stuff to stay alive. I don't know how many sisters there are, but this isn't the pretty one. 9 was not your lucky number, this should have been the abortion. You'll see me use the double blades for the first half of the fight, and I want you to know that I don't recommend it on any boss, ever. The hits do less damage and the timings change. I find it better to just stick with the original style. The Ninth Sister's combos are slow and easy to parry, and her jumping unblockable leaves her open constantly, but some of her attacks are just suspect enough to graze you when you don't expect it, namely the ones when she's twirling her double blade around. It's a whole different ballgame when she switches styles. Unblockables all day long, not a ton of openings, weird hitboxes, and her guard takes a lot of hits to break. My fight came down to the wire. I ran out of heals when she had 1/3 of her health left, and I thought I was done, but it turns out I'm a clutch-ass beast. Speaking of beasts, the Ninth Sister is ugly. I think we covered that, but it bears repeating. Number 13, Shrila. The hardest boss in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order is Shrila. I'm not putting any of her freebie encounters in this list, just the final epic one where she dances around all day and one-shots you with half her attacks. There's no other encounter where one mistake and you're dead. She's pretty unfairly susceptible to a fully charged force push, which will stagger her without fail and break 25% of her guard and leave her open to take damage from attacks, but you can't do that very often unless you have the force replenishment stim ability, which I do, and we probably all do, and oops, but I try not to abuse it except in the beginning to get my XP back, which is something you need to get immediately in these fights because the gold aura makes it impossible to see the red aura from incoming unblockables, which is some horseshit. Shrila might have exploitable defense, but she's got some some monster offense to make up for it. I was dead before I even knew what happened plenty of times. You just have to stay on your toes, religiously press circle, and watch out for more shockwave attacks that make even less sense because they're coming from a chick who weighs 130 at the most. That thing will come at you even if she's not facing your direction when she does it. At some point, a lone flying droid will show up to shoot at you like he was invited or something, but he's actually a blessing in disguise because while Shrila is flipping around still doing combos you rolled away from 20 minutes ago, you can force pull the droid to you and have BD Wong hack it with his Asian American acting powers, turning it to your side where it will fire one shot at Shrila every 3 weeks like clockwork. Sometimes she'll attack through it, sometimes she'll just deflect it, but sometimes it'll stagger her completely as if you just broke her guard and you can go in for the kill. And by kill, I mean watch Darth Vader kill her. Big reveal! I said spoilers, give me DLC for this game pronto. Well, that's gonna do it for this boss ranking. I hope you enjoyed it. I've got more like it, plus other stuff. The videos on my channel have a lot of variety, and that variety is in the quality. So if you like ups and downs because you're a roller coaster kind of gal, stick around and I'll be right back. Also, like, share, and subscribe, and follow me on Twitter, and become a channel member to support me financially like a boss. You'd be such a boss, in fact, that maybe I'd rank you one day. Oh man, I need drugs. Alright, see ya!